Hello, and welcome to a planning program overview for PIER, the Planning, Infrastructure, and Economic Revitalization Program under ReOregon. Today we'll be talking about planning, specifically program background and program design. We want you to know how to apply to the planning program and how to identify eligible planning activities and applicants. We'd also like to introduce you to program resources. We have a HUD-approved action plan, and allocations have been identified on a county-by-county basis. Once projects are selected, they will go through an approval process with OHCS. If approved, an award will be made, with implementation of the project to follow. These funds are a part of a $422 million CDBG-DR recovery effort in response to the 2020 Labor Day fires and will be administered by OHCS. In addition to the PIER program, the funds will also be used for a homeowner and renter assistance program, among other programs. This effort, called ReOregon, will rebuild and create new housing, infrastructure, assist with economic revitalization, and assist communities impacted by the fires, create plans, which we're talking about today. You can review the full action plan on the ReOregon website. It's linked in this deck. The action plan describes how the state will spend the allocation to support recovery in 8 counties impacted by the fires. As a part of this action plan, Oregon has defined the PIER program, which will provide $42 million for planning, economic revitalization, and infrastructure projects. All of these projects must meet certain requirements. Projects must be timely and follow a clear schedule that shows project completion before February 2028. Each project must have a minimum budget of $500,000. Each project must tie directly back to recovery from the disaster event or mitigate against future risks. And each project must be eligible under CDBG DR rules. A planning project submitted under PIER must be related to planning efforts that will help communities recover from the fire or mitigate against future or current hazards. Each of the 8 counties has been allocated funds under PIER. You can see this on the left hand of the screen by county. Those counties have created or will create regional selection committees to select and recommend projects to OHCS for approval and funding. Remember, the minimum budget that will be approved is $500,000. If you would like to apply to PIER and you are in Lane, Jackson, Douglas, or Klamath County, you should visit their websites. They're linked in this slide deck. These websites will describe those counties' local processes of application. To learn more about Lincoln, Lynn, and Marion, or if you're unsure who to reach out to or have questions, you can reach out to PIER at hcs.oregon.gov to request assistance. Who will be reviewing your project? These selection committees are made of voting members from local government, economic district representatives, long-term recovery groups, tribes, or other organizations that have a vested interest in the county's recovery. These committees will receive and review your project, then vote to decide to move the project before OHCS. You may be wondering who can apply for these funds. Tribes, state agencies, counties, municipal governments, districts, authorities, and any other public or quasi-public entity, such as a COG, can apply for these funds. As a part of the application process, a project description form will be required by OHCS. There is a separate form for each type of project eligible under PIER: planning, economic revitalization, and infrastructure. This slide deck has a link to each form. Please note that the form will require detailed information about the project, such as the budget and how the project meets required eligibility criteria. While some selection committees may allow an approved alternative document during selection, this form will be required by OHCS when submitting the project to the state. What kinds of plans are eligible under PIER? Housing recovery, regional mitigation, modernization, resiliency planning, comprehensive plans, capital improvement plans, community development plans, and floodplain wetland management plans are all accepted. Activities allowed include mapping, data collection, or other methods of better understanding evolving disaster risks, as well as education and outreach campaigns designed to alert your community to opportunities to further mitigate identified risks, such as insurance, best practices, or other strategies. Regardless of the type of plan, the plan must either tie back to the disaster or mitigate future disasters. Any recovery activity must clearly relate to the recovery needs resulting from the 2020 Labor Day fires and directly or indirectly support new housing. OHCS intends this language to be read broadly to include economic revitalization, creation of public facilities such as parks, to the extent that the local partners, the selection committee, determine that these actions are important to supporting demand for housing in the impacted area. If the plan does not tie back to the disaster, it can mitigate against future disasters. These must reduce the expected loss of life or property in the face of identified natural hazards. These mitigation activities include community resilience plans. What's ineligible? What can't we do under this planning program? General government expenses, political activities, operation and maintenance, otherwise known as O&M, engineering or architectural designs, general promotion or commercial advertisement, assistance to professional sports teams, and pre-award cost, such as any costs related to preparing the project description form for selection committee or OHCS, are not eligible. Please note that engineering or architectural designs are eligible in a PIER infrastructure program, but not a part of the planning program. Unlike other CDBG-DR programs, such as infrastructure or economic revitalization, these planning activities do not need to meet a national objective, such as low to moderate income area benefit or urgent need. If your project is selected by the committee, you will meet with OHCS to review the project before submitting the official project description form to OHCS. This meeting will verify the project scope, discuss meeting national objective criteria, if that applies to your project, review the budget and associated materials, review the application and program expectations, as well as provide time for Q&A. This meeting is to assist you create a great project description form and to minimize the need for requests for information in the application process. We're to the end, and it's time to check your knowledge. We discussed this earlier, but it's good to know, what is the minimum budget for a PIER project, including the planning projects? Is it A, $100,000, B, $200,000, or C, $500,000? I'll give you a moment to decide. If you said $500,000, you're correct. Great job. Now, we wanted to talk to you about resources, and we do encourage you to visit the ReOregon website. The website includes general information about the ReOregon CDBG-DR program. You can also review PIER-specific materials like the policy, very good to review before you create your plan, and any required forms needed. If you have questions, please reach out to PIER@hes.oregon.gov or directly to Julie at her email address listed here on the slide deck. Thank you so much for joining today, and we wish you luck in creating your planning programs.